Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we are diving headfirst into what happens when the cold, hard facts of geology smash right into chilling legends and supernatural curses. We're going to take a journey from a world-famous tourist attraction in Ireland right down into the darkest, most haunted objects you might just have sitting in your own living room. So, what happens when ancient magic meets modern science? It's a great question, right? It perfectly frames our whole journey today, asking if science can fully explain away magic, or if some objects truly hold on to dark, unexplained histories. Do the empirical facts overwrite the folklore, or do they just add another fascinating layer to the mystery? Here is the roadmap for our explainer today. We'll be covering science meets the Blarney Stone, the gift of eloquence, the Blarney Curse, haunted sites of Ireland, and finally, infamous cursed objects. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. Science meets the Blarney Stone, grounding legend in reality.
For literally centuries, wild folklore claimed that the world-famous Blarney Stone came from Stonehenge, or maybe it was a gift from Scottish kings, or even magically imbued by the tears of the fairy queen Cleona. But, well, researchers at Glasgow University recently proved otherwise. The scientific reality? It is 100% homegrown Irish Carboniferous limestone, no fairy queens required. And to put that into perspective, the sheer scale of this history is absolutely staggering. Geologists confirm that the limestone making up the Blarney Stone is 330 million years old. They actually found recrystallized, slightly deformed fragments of fossil brachiopod shells and bryozoans inside it, all of which are completely, totally unique to the exact area where the castle sits today. Now, how they found this out is a fascinating story all on its own. Back in the 1850s, a giant of 19th century geology, Professor Matthew Foster Heddle, ground a slice of the stone so incredibly thin it was actually transparent to light. That slide just sat there, totally lost to time in handwritten ledgers for over a century. That is, until 2014, when a museum intern named Becky Smith finally unearthed it from among 40,000 other slides during a massive digitization project. Talk about finding a needle in a haystack.
Section 2. The Gift of Eloquence, Legends of the Castle.
Now you might be wondering, why on earth do millions of tourists literally hang upside down nearly 100 feet in the air just to kiss this rock? Well, it all comes down to the gift of the gab. That's the ability to deceive without offending, basically imparting eloquence and persuasive speech. Legend says a wise woman told the castle's builder, Cormac McCarthy, to kiss the very first stone he found on his way to defend his land rights in London. He kissed the stone, and it supposedly granted him such eloquence that a deeply frustrated Queen Elizabeth famously dismissed his persuasive words as mere blarney. And boom, a massive tradition was born. You know what's really funny about this? Even the highly logical scientists studying the empirical facts couldn't resist testing out the ancient magic for themselves. Dr. John Faithfull, the curator at the Hunter Inn Museum, openly admitted that while he was busy proving its 330 million-year-old local origins, he actually went ahead and gave that microscopic slide a kiss, just to see if the eloquence would rub off. Section 3. The Blarney Curse, When Stones Strike Back. But there is a distinctly sinister flip side to this magic. Stealing even a tiny pebble from Blarney Castle brings misery and misfortune. It triggers a curse that forces unlucky tourists to literally mail the rocks back, often attaching desperate letters detailing their completely ruined lives. It seems that while the stone freely gives the gift of gab, it aggressively punishes anyone who tries to take a piece of its power home with them.
Moving on to Section 4. Haunted Sites of Ireland, the birthplace of Halloween.
If a simple pebble from Cork can carry a curse that strong, it makes total sense when you realize that Ireland's entire landscape is just absolutely steeped in the supernatural. Take Samhain, for example. This is an ancient Celtic festival dating back over 2,000 years that marked the end of summer and is actually the direct origin of the Halloween tradition we celebrate today. Historically, the Irish people fully embraced this as the time of year when the veil between the living and the dead was thought to be at its absolute thinnest. Because of that history, you get locations that represent the dark historical heartbeat of the country, ranging from Victorian-era prisons all the way to a blood-soaked battlefield where 40,000 men fought. You've got Crumlin Road Jail up in Belfast, an old prison just teeming with deceased inmates. There's Grace Neal's Bar in Donaghadee, where the apparition of Grace herself still cleans glasses at closing time. And we can't forget Aughrim Battlefield's Bloody Hollow, where the ghosts of Jacobite soldiers supposedly stare right into the abyss after a massively deadly battle back in 1691. These ancient ruins hold some truly horrific micro-stories of betrayal and black arts. Take Leap Castle down in County Offaly. The O'Carrolls hosted a feast there for a rival clan and literally poisoned them all. It's a betrayal rivaling the Red Wedding. Now it's haunted by a murdered priest and the terrifying Red Lady. Or head over to Limerick, to the Abbey of the Black Hag. Local lore says the Countess of Desmond was buried alive there, and visitors to this very day report hearing her screams and the awful sounds of her scratching at the stone altar.
Section 5. Infamous Cursed Objects. Bringing the haunting home.
Let's zoom out globally for a second. Because if heavy castle stones in ancient Irish abbeys can harbor dark energy, so can the mundane objects sitting in a totally normal house. Consider the tragic, anger-fueled energy trapped in Anna Baker's unworn 1914 wedding dress in Pennsylvania. Her father forbade the marriage, she never got to wear it, and now that dress reportedly shakes violently in its glass cabinet on nights with a full moon. Or how about Robert the Doll? He's an early 1900s childhood companion currently down in Florida who will supposedly break up your marriage or trigger a car accident if you don't treat him with the proper respect.
Sometimes it's literally just a single overlooked tradition that can trap a soul forever. Down at the Myrtles Plantation in St. Francisville, Louisiana, an enslaved woman named Chloe reportedly sought revenge by baking a poisonous cake. That cake killed owner Sarah Woodruff and her 2 children. Now, historically, mirrors were supposed to be covered immediately after a death, but this specific mirror wasn't. Because of that oversight, it said their spirits were pulled directly into it. Visitors now report seeing the ghosts of the family and even tiny handprints appearing right on the glass.
Finally, we have to look at Bill Stoneham's infamous Abe painting, The Hands Resist Him. This is a cursed item so potent that people reported terrifying experiences simply from viewing the image on their computer screens. Created in 1972 and famously listed online in 2000, the sellers claim the figures inside the painting would actually move and twist. Even the artist himself noted that people who came into contact with this piece have died under ominous circumstances. It really goes to show that a haunting doesn't just stay in one physical place, it can literally reach right out to you through a digital screen.
Which brings us to a rather unsettling thought. I'll leave you with this to ponder the next time you bring an antique into your house, or maybe gaze just a little too long into an old mirror. If a simple mirror, a 1970s painting, or a child's doll can harbor restless spirits, what untold histories are hiding in the objects sitting in your own home right now? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today, and stay curious.